Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well. Before this video starts, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support on some of my recent Phasmo videos. I really do think it's fun just meeting new people in the community and helping out new players, and so I'm really glad a lot of people found some of my stuff helpful, and I do read all the comments I get on my videos, and I really do appreciate all the support. With Phasmo releasing on console recently, I've seen a huge wave of older players coming back, and obviously there's been a lot of big changes. And so here are 10 things returning Phasmophobia players need to know. The first thing that's probably pretty glaringly obvious, you're gonna notice that there's a ton of new items. There's actually 3 tiers of each item in the game now. Basically, you unlock higher tier items as you level up, and generally, the higher the tier of item, the better. And on top of this, there's also some progression related things. And so now there are prestiges, so whenever you hit level 100 you can prestige. Each prestige gives you a new badge. And then whenever you prestige, you're gonna lose all your items and money, and it's essentially a reset. And if you're curious, there's 20 total prestiges. The second thing that's arguably one of the biggest changes is that saying cold breath no longer means that it's automatically going to be freezing temperatures. And although it can identify where the ghost room is, you actually have to use the thermometer now to tell if it's freezing. One thing you might notice is that Fingerprints is no longer an evidence listed in the book, and it's actually become Ultraviolet now. Basically, it encompasses both fingerprints and things like UV footprints, and so now you will only see the UV footprints if the evidence is ultraviolet. I know a while ago it was kind of different and sometimes you would be able to get those UV footprints and it not be fingerprints, but now UV is kind of a general thing for things like fingerprints on doors or a fingerprint on a light switch, and also the salt UV footprints. Speaking of salt and footprints, the Wraith used to be able to step in salt, and the telltale sign would be that it wouldn't be leaving any footprints behind, but there was a change made a while ago where the Wraith will never step in salt. And this was changed within the last year or two, so it's kind of an old thing, but it kind of just depends when you stop playing. Speaking of equipment overhaul and progression overhaul, you might notice a map called Sunny Meadows. And this is actually a redone asylum with completely new assets and unique map design. And speaking of new maps, Point Hope is also a new map that was released this year, which is a lighthouse. And although I do like the Point Hope map a lot, I feel like the sanity drain can be pretty fast, just given how the lights work and how the map layout is, so just keep that in mind. Along with the progression overhaul that was made some time ago, there are still the official main difficulties like Professional, Amateur, Nightmare. But they also added a custom difficulty setting, but it lets you change almost every aspect of the game, and it will affect the reward multiplier positively or negatively depending on the settings you change. Some of these settings can be player speed, ghost speed, weather, hunt duration, etc. And with this new custom difficulty, there's a new challenge on the Sunny Meadows map called the Apocalypse Challenge, and there's 3 different levels: bronze, silver, and gold. To complete this challenge, you must complete all objectives, guess the ghost correctly, capture a photo of the ghost, and obviously survive. Each of these variations has increasingly difficult settings, and upon completion, you will get a unique player badge and a trophy showcased in your lobby. Depending on when you last played, there might be some unfamiliar ghosts. The newest ones are the Diogen, Moroi, and Thay. And I say newest as they were the last ghost added, but it was kind of a while ago. The Diogen is very fast, but when it gets close, it would become super slow. The Moroi gets faster the lower your sanity, and the Thay starts fast and gets slower over time, kind of like the opposite of the Moroi. One of the best quality of life changes in the game is that the lighter now has its own personal slot in your inventory. So before, you would have your lighter, smudge, and maybe a flashlight, but now you can have a lighter and also grab 3 other items. Similarly, the Tier 2 headcam and Tier 3 headcam will act as a flashlight and night vision accordingly, although the Tier 2 headcam isn't that great, but it can sometimes be helpful. So hypothetically, you can kind of have a flashlight as a headcam, a lighter in its personal slot, and 3 other items if that makes any sense. I'm assuming most people that are watching this have seen or heard the news, but Phasmophobia just recently got released on console, and it does feature crossplay, so now you can play Phasmo with your console buddies, whether you're on Steam, PS5, or Xbox Series X. And this last thing isn't necessarily something specific about the game, but I feel like it's worth mentioning that the dev team has grown quite a bit. They've hired a lot of new artists and other people to help streamline the development of the game. And I know they've been working on a bunch of new customization stuff and creating unique items in game. and it's safe to say you can expect a lot of higher quality updates in the future, and I feel like we've already seen some of that. I feel like the Halloween event was definitely a step up from what it was before. Not to mention the success of console release, I feel like it's only going to get even better. But anyways, I think that's probably going to wrap up this video. If you found this helpful, or think there's anything else returning players should know, feel free to leave a comment and I'll make sure to pin it. And thank you guys so much for watching, and welcome back to all the returning ghost hunters.